Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Attention, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I invite to all the participants of the Brazilian Symposium on Hydro Resources to see the institutional videos of our sponsors. We remind you that you must get your simultaneous interpretation sets here in the reception desk behind the stage. Please take your seats as we are going to start our event. And of course, show the institutional videos of our sponsors. So please take your seats so we can start our event. And you're all more than welcome. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And remember to go to the reception and get your simultaneous interpretation radios or devices. The equipments for the simultaneous interpretation devices can be found here on the stage, behind the stage. So please get to simultaneous interpretation devices. We are going to start our event soon. Please, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite you to take your seats. We're soon going to start our event, and we remind you once again to get your simultaneous interpretation devices here on the front desk, which is located right behind the stage. So please, we'll remind you once again to get your simultaneous interpretation devices.
O que faz a Fiat, a Embraer, a Vale, o Google, a Algar, a NRV, a Simpla e tantas outras empresas escolherem Minas Gerais? Para responder a essa pergunta, ninguém melhor que a FIENG, a Federação das Indústrias de Minas Gerais, formada por mais de 130 sindicatos empresariais e que há mais de 85 anos trabalha para tornar a indústria mineira cada vez mais competitiva, inovadora e sustentável. Para começar, Minas está no lugar perfeito, no centro da América do Sul e do maior polo consumidor do Brasil. Com mais de 20 milhões de habitantes, é o segundo estado mais populoso do país, responsável por 9% do PIB nacional. E tem infraestrutura pronta para a indústria do futuro, cada vez mais conectada com o mundo. O estado tem a maior malha rodoviária do país, a segunda maior malha ferroviária e um dos mais modernos aeroportos da América Latina, além de mais de 10 aeroportos regionais. Conta ainda com 6 portos secos para escoamento da produção e com conexões aos maiores portos marítimos do país. Além da localização estratégica, Minas conta com uma força de trabalho competitiva e qualificada. 11,2% dos empregados da indústria do Brasil estão em Minas Gerais. O estado tem a maior concentração de universidades federais do país e mais de 400 institutos educacionais de nível superior. Educação, aliás, é parte importante do trabalho do SESI e do SENAI, que oferecem ensino de alta qualidade, desde o básico, cursos de nível técnico, até a educação tecnológica e corporativa, que abrem portas para a indústria 4.0. O Senai prepara todos os anos mais de 100 mil trabalhadores. A entidade atua em todos os segmentos industriais, formando profissionais prontos para transformar as novas tecnologias em inovação e competitividade para a indústria. A produtividade dos trabalhadores também está ligada à qualidade de vida. É o que o SESI proporciona por meio de soluções e programas de segurança e saúde no trabalho, cultura, esporte e ações sociais. Todo o ambiente de inovação em Minas é estimulado pelo trabalho do Centro de Inovação e Tecnologia Senai, que abriga em seu campus vários institutos que atuam de forma integrada para oferecer serviços e soluções no desenvolvimento de produtos, processos e pesquisas inovadoras. Com o apoio da FIENG, as empresas mineiras ganham o mundo. Por ano, são exportados bilhões de dólares em produtos industriais para mais de 190 países. A FIENG orienta as indústrias de Minas na implantação de modelos de negócios mais sustentáveis e competitivos. Em Minas Gerais, as empresas estão no lugar certo e contam com a força da FIENG na oferta de soluções completas, tanto para produzir quanto para expandir seus negócios, se internacionalizar e atrair investimentos. A FIENG oferece assessoria customizada nas áreas econômica, tributária, trabalhista, de energia e meio ambiente, além de serviços de inteligência competitiva. É por isso que mais de 60 mil indústrias produzem, empregam e crescem aqui. Venha fazer negócios e crescer em Minas. FIENG, pelo futuro da indústria.
SADEPs present talks to save water. If you open, you use, you close. First, don't let the water run when you're not using. Take short showers and don't let the water running while you're using the shampoo. Don't let the water running when you are shaving or when you are brushing your teeth. We're going through a very shortage of water. So if you use water safely, you are going to save water for all. Taking care of all is what we do. We work to protect our water, and you can do that by reading the meter. All you can do is using our digital channels. You have more control of what you consume, and you can pay your bills using the technology. We take care of what matters more. Copasa, Minas Gerais. Different government, efficient state. Water is the most important natural resource that we have on Earth, and it also works as a driver for the development of Brazil. Water is present in the production of foods, in the industrialized products in nature, in the generation of energy, in the moments of fun, as well as in the productive processes, almost everything that we buy and use. From the spring to the mouth, water is shared by all of us, and our commitment with water is simple. Take care of it so there won't be any water missing for anyone. After all, water is single. The National Agencies of Water and Sewage is here to support in this mission, working directly in the regulations so everyone can have access to quality water and in the amount that is necessary. It is ANA that makes the reference term for the sectors. That's why they contribute for our agencies to have clean water. The agency is also carries out actions to prevent many things. In addition to being the central unit for water for the data centralization on the dams, ANA also produces technical information that helps strategically our society. And ANA is not alone. It also has cooperation with many institutions in a participative fashion, and it is its contribution to the country that we want to the current and future generations. Follow ANA on social media and follow the activities that of the agency that is a reference in taking care of water in Brazil. I work in the evening in the area of lamination. I work with the machine driver. I work in the maneuver. I am the first woman to work with as a maneuvering, which shows that we are capable of doing any kind of service. Usiminas is increasing more and more the space of women in the company because it believes in the potential of women, in a special glance that a woman brings along with the results that we see. It is a challenge because it is an area that is basically made for men, and today women are coming stronger and stronger. Undoubtedly, this is an opportunity that we have to show that we are just as able to do anything as men. We're able to do any kind of activity as men do. We can't just believe that that which men do, women can't. That's not the truth. Everybody's looking for the same goal. I'm very happy, actually, to see women taking positions and doing their job with excellency. In São Paulo, we have 2 women who are supervisors, and they have 200 people under them, and they deliver perfectly because what we need is qualification, training, delivery, alignment with our greatest value, and this is what women show that they can in a highest level. It makes me very proud to work at Usiminas and be part of this team and develop more and more, along with the women as well as our partners. Maria went to the supermarket and she brought some part of the fecre. This is because from the plantation of Osvaldo, the people were over there taking care of everything. And this happens when she is when she was I mean when she goes to the supermarket, she also contributes to the Confea Crea, always by your side. The speed of our world needs to change, and we need to adapt faster and faster. The Bank of Development of Minas Gerais is continuously evolving to be innovative, competitive, and efficient. Everything in connection with entrepreneurs, managers, and public managers from all the state. For the new ways of doing business, an agile, accessible bank with a vision of the future, broadening horizons so we can go further with sustainability, generating quality of life. BDMG connects those who invest and those who make it happen. Imprinting a new glance towards economy, ideas that transform and that go way beyond financing, because the future is being created now. BDMG, new ideas for the development. Minas is an agribusiness power in amount and quality. We produce more and more in a more and more sustainable fashion. The FANIB system is helping farmers to preserve our environmental asset and recover springs and forests. We are production and conservation. FAEM system, Senai, the union and the power of the field. With more than 3 million inhabitants, the population of the federal district doesn't stop growing. Today, ADASA regulates and inspects many services that impact the lives of these people, such as water supply and water treatment, in addition to sanitation systems services. We pay a very close attention to all of this process, ensuring a quality service to the population of the federal district. Taking care of water is ADASA's mission. Regulating is our nature. The Northeast is movement. It is balance, light, wind, and energy. You know what moves the Northeast? A people that vibrates in this power. people who seem to have been born fortified by the power of the sun that transport the willingness to go ahead. And you know who works to make all of this movement move forward is the Bank of Nordeste. It reaches places that you cannot even imagine. A bank that fosters new ideas and invests in the constructions of new sustainable pathways, helping people who have a small business or who are just beginning, but they have a strong desire to go further. And it propels those who have become bigger to generate jobs to so many people. It supports those who work on the land with the seeds of the dreams and hope to bear fruits. The Banco do Nordeste is always there in the implementation of the clinic, in the creation of the industry, and even in the necessary capital for the store. It is the bank that is there to make dreams come true and generate jobs, and that helps change the story of these people. Is the support brought by a program, Crede Amigo. With them, people take control of their lives. When it comes to the rural zone, we are there. AgroAmigo brings support to the small farmers. Now you know what is the bank that fosters all of this growth. A bank that is almost like a brother. It is a strong partner and that is present everywhere whenever entrepreneurship is, regardless of how big or you are or the sector you are or where you are. Banco do Nordeste, accelerating development. Every year, Itaipu delivers millions of megawatts per hour and transforms the lives of people. It is energy that is in the smile of Aninha when Caio plays, in the work that Paulo does, in the life of Maia. And with all of this energy, Itaipu delivers constructions that benefits our people because more than generating energy, we are a power plant of deliveries. Log on to mutua.com.br or call 0800 61 0003. Getting to 50s is a privilege. In almost 6 decades of hard work, we have expanded our system to all of the regions of Alagoas. We count on the power and the strength of our people. We have opened this part of Brazil and we gather the best technicians. The goal has always been one, in the past and in the present, bring quality water to collect sewage and improve the lives of people. Today, we use the best we have in terms of technology, but not forgetting our history and the contribution of everyone so that we could come to where we are. We are present in 77 cities. We provide water to 2 million people. We have made partnership to increase our reach. We have prepared ourselves and reformulated ourselves to the future. Casal, at 58, is ready for the new, always paying attention to the welfare of people. Once again, thank you very much to all of our sponsors. We remind you that from now on, we are going to broadcast only via the headsets, not with the open sound anymore. So if you don't have your headset yet, please go to the reception desk in the behind the stage to get your device. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome. We invite all to see the presentation of the Orquestra Jovens das Gerais. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's now see the presentation of the Young Orchestra.
Thank you very much to Orquestra Jovem Minas Gerais. Please, a round of applause for our Orquestra Jovem, Young Orchestra. Let's talk a little about the orchestra. It's an initiative turned to the promotion of the human development through access to art, culture, and education. The project offers workshops of many instruments, blow instruments, percussion for children and youngsters of low-income communities in vulnerable situation. From music education, or the orchestra aims to insert the youngsters into society, raising their art talent and generating professional opportunities. Before the scenario, the project intends to train the students and transform reality for them and also bring social justice. The orchestra has been manager and proponent for 25 years of actions not only turned to teaching and socialization of music, but also to disseminate and bring practice of culture and music enjoyment. And it has contributed to change the reality of the participants that have the chance to develop personal and professionally, and also the participants that participate in concerts, workshops, and replicate the experiences and projects of partnerships with associations, schools, city halls, and other entities. This presentation from the orchestra was offered by Copasa, to whom we thank. Ladies and gentlemen, the Brazilian Association of Water Resources, ABHR Hydro, in partnership with the government of Minas Gerais and Federation of the Industries of Minas Gerais State, FIENG, has the pleasure to welcome you for the opening solemnity of the 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources. We remind you to use the masks during the whole event, which is mandatory. Water means development and is an element of integration between people, organizations, cultures, peoples, technologies, knowledges, public health and environmental health, governments, society, energy, and infrastructure. When Minas Gerais celebrates many advancements in water management, the main event turned to discussion of the matters related to the use of water in Brazil begins in Belo Horizonte. Before such a huge mobilization, Minas becomes the national capital of water. We believe so much in the power of meetings. Together, we reflect, we analyze, we think, we multiply ourselves seeking comprehension or seeking understandings and solutions in reflecting moments such as these. It's good to be together. We converge, we create relations, we broadcast science, we promote talks between the most different sectors. Anyhow, we bring people closer and we multiply looks. This symposium will still be different. We will still be wearing masks and observing all protocols established by the local authorities. Our main satisfaction remains to be able to promote this meeting. We now pass on to the composition of the directing table of this opening solemnity. Ladies and gentlemen, to integrate the stage, we invite the President of the Brazilian Association of Water Resources, ABR Hydro, Sinara Brock. Acting President of FIENG, Federation of Industries of the State of Minas Gerais, José Batista de Oliveira. Secretary for Sustainable Development and Environment for Minas Gerais, President of the Local Commission of the 24th Water Resources, Marilia Carvalho de Mello, who will participate online with us. Thank you very much. Be welcome, Marilia. We invite the Dean of Federal University of Minas Gerais, Sandra Regina Goulart Almeida. Secretary for Agriculture, Livestock and Supply of the State of Minas Gerais, Ana Maria Soares Valentini. Director President of the National Water Agency and Basic Sanitation, Cristiane Dias. Director of Water Resources and Revitalization of Water Basins, Wilson Rodrigues de Mello Jr. In this act, representing the Minister of Development, Rogério Marinho. Director of Hydrology and Territorial Management of CPRM, Geological Services of Brazil, Alice Castilho, representing President Esteves Pedro Conago. Director of Regional Systems of Sabesp, Mônica Porto, representing the President Benedito Braga. Superintendent for Environment Development of Copava, Nelson Cunha Guimarães, representing President Carlos Eduardo Tavares. Technical Superintendent of the FAENG Senarenai System, Altino Rodrigues Neto, representing President Antônio Pictangui de Salvo. We invite the coordinator of the working group for sanitation from CREA-MG, civil engineer Vitor Carvalho Queiroz, representing President Mr. Lúcio Fernando Borges. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you all to listen to the Brazilian National Anthem, which will be executed by Jovens das Gerais Orchestra. Once again, thank you very much to Orchestra Jovens da Gerais for participating in our symposium. We also thank Copasa to make this wonderful presentation available. Please sit down, ladies and gentlemen. Be at will. We acknowledge and thank the prestige of our sponsors and supporters by the trust and partnership. Sabesp, Basic Sanitation Company of the State of São Paulo, Copasa, sanitation company from Minas Gerais State, ANA, National Agency for Water and Basic Sanitation, ADASA, Regulating Agency for Water, Energy and Sanitation of the Federal District, BEMISA, BDMG, Development Bank from Minas Gerais State, FAENG Senai Enai System, Federation of Agriculture and Livestock of the State of Minas Gerais, USI Minas, FAPEMIG, Foundation for Support of Research of the State of Minas Gerais, CNPq, National Council of Scientific and Technological Development, Itaipu Binational, Obeco Sudamericana, Committee of the Hydro Basin of the San Francisco River and Peixe Vivo Agency, Dual-Based Electronic Technology, SEMAR, Secretariat of the State of Environment and Water Resources of Alagoas State, CASAL, Company of Sanitation from Alagoas State, Banco do Nordeste do Brasil, Mutua MG, Caixa de Assistência dos Profissionais de Minas, CONFEA, National Council of Engineering and Agronomy, CPRM, Geological Services of Brazil, CREA Minas, National Regional Council of Engineering and Agronomy of the State of Minas Gerais. We also thank for the presence of Carlos Coelho, President of APRH, Paulo Sérgio Lacerda Beirão, President of FAPEMIG, Oscar de Moraes, Director from ANA, Marcelo Cruz, Director from ANA, and also Director Vitor Sabaki, Marcelo Fonseca, General Director of IGAN, Wesley Márcio Gonçalves Maciel, Superintendent of Banco do Nordeste, Wilson Rodrigues de Melo Jr., Director of the Department of Water Resources and Revitalization of River Basins, and in this act representing Secretary Sérgio Luís Soares de Souza Costa, Jorge Vermec, Director of ADASA, Lupercio Ziroldo Antônio, President of the Brazil Network of River Basin Institution, Alceu Queiroz Bittencourt, President from ABES, Ederaldo Bush, General Coordinator of the National Forum of the River Basins in Brazil, Simone Frederici Benassi, from the Division of Reservoirs of Itaipu, Alexandre Melo, Director of Relations with Associates and Municipalities of IBRAN, Márcia Amélia Matos Lins, General Director of IRF, Marília Amélia Matos Lins, Carlos Alberto Freitas, General Secretary Abbas, and also José Paulo Godoy Neto. Apolinário Rebelo, Director from ADASA. Ladies and gentlemen, for the official opening of our event, we will now hear to Secretary of State of Environment, Sustainable Development of Minas Gerais State, and also President of the Local Commission of the 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources, Mrs. Marília Carvalho de Melo. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to greet very especially Sinara, our president of BR Hydro, great professional has been developing a lot of work ahead of the association. Batista de Oliveira, co-realizer of the event through the Federation of Industries, on behalf of who I thank you, FIENG, and President Flavio Hospi, for all the support to make this event happen. Greet also our Dean of the Federal University of Minas Gerais, Professor Alessandra, my friend, government colleague that represents us in person today, Secretary Ana Valentin, a great professional, a great defender of the water resources issue in our state. Greet very especially my friend Cristiano Dias, President of the National Agency of Water and Basic Sanitation, also reference Marcelo Cruz, Oscar and Vitor in person there at Belo Horizonte. Greet Wilson, who represents the Ministry of Regional Development, Alicia, CPRM, Professor Monica Porto, who honors us with her presence, representing Sabesp, Nelson, representing Copasa, to who I thank, Nelson, for your institutional support and the support to make this event happen. From Copasa, on behalf of President Carlos Eduardo, I'd like to greet Altino from our Federation of Agriculture in the state of Minas Gerais, my friend Vitor Carvalho, representing here at the CREA. I also want to greet someone who is not at the table, but who had a paramount, a fundamental role for this event to happen, Professor Nilo, that presided the Scientific Commission. But I want to greet here especially a friend and competent professional, General Director of the Mineiro Institute for Water Management, Marcelo Fonseca, and all the personnel at the Institute who supported us in making this event happen together with ABRI. For the state of Minas Gerais, it's an honor to host the 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources. Initially, I'd like to reference the central role of ABRI in water management in Brazil, performing since its constitution the relevant function of integrating science technique as an elementary baseline for public policies for water in our country. On the last symposium, we had a central motto: water connects. Really, water connects. It connects people, cities, states, and relatives anyhow. It connects culture. Water also connects sectors for energy production, for food production, for industrial production, as well as it connects the promotion of public health. This year, apart from the connection, we deal with the multiple dimensions of water. Effectively, water has multiple dimensions. The dimension of anthropos uses, the dimension of preserving the water ecosystems and non-water ecosystems, the dimension of economic development, the dimension of social development, dimension of the assurance of all ways of life on Earth. Yes, water, by its multiple dimensions, is the natural element that most integrates, that most relates and connects. It integrates natural elements along the water cycle. It integrates the mankind and its needs for survival, since its desedimentation to the food that is ingested. It integrates fauna, integrates flora. Same wise, this, and I quote, water that is only one, isn't that it? Christianity must connect and integrate public policies. Once I read a statement that made a lot of sense. Water is related to almost everything, referencing Professor Assis, who on the last symposium of ABR Hydro, brilliantly in his speech drafted the term hydrocomplexity. Water is related to almost everything. Sectors of energy, sanitation, environment, forests, agriculture, and industry. All these policies have a interdependency relation with water. Water resource management system is a central policy in the main national agendas: economic development, sanitation and public health, environment quality, climate change, referencing COP26 that just happened, just to quote some of the policies that are correlated. I want to make a reflection here from a recent past, 2014, 2016, 15, 2016. We talked about a water crisis that at that moment impacted strongly the sanitation and public supply sector. Now in 2021, a new water crisis, the reservoirs of the electric sectors with low levels. And what is the learning? What is future planning of multiple sectors that depend on water, and the planning of the water resources management. The reflection of the past can't stop just on this. We have to look towards the future, and let's wait for how many other crises. Some issues will have to be addressed. Water infrastructure, demand management, efficient use, reuse, solutions based in nature, economic instruments, water market, 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources. And what do we want from this moment of such rich integration from the academia, technical and political institutional environment? We will have the opportunity to build a strengthening agency this week in managing the water resources, a pragmatic agenda with practical results. As the basis of this water security concept is an agenda that can deliver society what it interests society, water in amount and quality for multiple uses, for environment preservation, public health, to produce food, for the economic development. This event should have an end in itself. So I hope we have a profitous week of work so we can come out with a future agenda for development of our country. I close my speech quoting Guimarães Rosa, our writer from Minas Gerais, about Minas and its waters. And I quote, it said that my land represents the high reservoir, the water reservoir, the white heart, the multivertent that leads into so many directions, forming in waterways, São Francisco, Paranaíba, the Grande that make Paraná, Jequitinhonha, Doce, the affluents of Paraíba River, and still Ike. And that since it's small water lines, from the description of its flood lands and from these creeks, Minas is the main donator. And I close quotes, such as caring for its water, Minas welcomes the water community with hope for this future construction. On behalf of our governor, Romeu Zema, I welcome you all. Enjoy our hospitality here at Minas Gerais State and our minor quality. Thank you, Sinara, for the opportunity to to host this symposium. Good evening to you all.
Thank you, Secretary Maria Carvalho de Mello. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite now to also join our opening table the Minister of the Court of Account, Haroldo Cedras, who was the rapporteur of law from 1997. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now hand the floor to the Superintendent of the Environmental Development from CODASA, Mr. Nelson Cunha Guimarães. Good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's very difficult to speak right after following Marília, who made such a beautiful opening that we've just been exposed to. But first, I would like to, on behalf of the President of COPASA, Dr. Carlos Eduardo Tavares Castro, to thank the invitation made by COPASA to be part of this such amazing event in the sector of water resources. Also, I'd like to greet the President, Senara Brocchi, for the organization of the event. And through you, I would like to greet all of the other authorities here on the table. It is with a great joy, and if COPASA feels honored to be part of this event, helping in the carrying out of this amazing event that I'm sure will be of great success. There is no doubt, as been said before, that water ensures connections. And one of these connections, one of the most important ones, we can mention the issue of sanitation. The integration of the policy of water resources and sanitation may seem obvious, but it was consolidated with the new legal framework of sanitation in the year 2020. This issue is very relevant in the moment that we rescue this issue of water, which is an issue that more and more becomes present in all of the media and more is the subject of everybody's conversations because it affects our lives as a whole. And today, it is the subject, a common subject, the issue of climate change, water crisis, because that affects our daily lives. And in this context, a greater challenge, which I hope is more and more emphatic, the discussion and the quest for solution, which is the great challenge, which is the issue of universalization of sanitation. Copasa is the concessionary of sanitation for the state of Minas Gerais, and today it is present in 640 municipalities of the state out of 833 municipalities. It serves more than 11 million people. Its commitment is the universalization of water and sanitation services with quality and in a sustainable fashion. And its purpose is to take care of water. For that, we are making huge investments, not only on the issue of expansion of services, but also investments for the reduction of losses and strengthening more and more the actions related to an agenda ISG. In this ISG agenda, we're going to have the opportunity along this event of discussing and getting to know, and I'm going to highlight a program that Copasa does in a pioneering fashion among sanitation companies in Brazil, which is Pro Water Spring Program. It is a program that has allowed for an investment of something like 50 million reais within 4 years in environmental recovery of hydro basins where the company has water, gets water. In this work, we have created more than 1 we have planted more than 1 million seedlings. A work that goes way beyond what we have been doing and that adds value to the services that are done with the funds that come from water payment. We believe that this Congress, that I believe it's the most important forum in Brazil to the discussion of water resources, will bring us the opportunity to discuss issues such as this one and also allow for exchange, technical knowledge, because I'm sure that it will be very fruitful and will ensure a very great event for all of us here in Belo Horizonte. I also would like to invite everyone to learn more about the city and enjoy the idle time you have during the event to learn more about the city, because this city has a great tradition of being very welcoming, and I am sure that you are going to love it too. So I wish everybody a wonderful event. Welcome to Minas Gerais, and thank you. We also register the presence of Mrs. Jussara Cabral, the coordinator of the technical team of Brazilian Dams, Cristiane Batistone, the General Coordinator of Integrated Actions of the Secretary of Water Resources from the Ministry of Regional Development. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear now the Director of Sabesp, Mônica Porto. Good evening, everyone. First of all, Senada, I would like to greet you, and also I would like to commend you for allowing for this event to happen in such a difficult, challenging moment. Mr. José Batista de Oliveira, the President of CEMIG, Minister Haroldo Cedras, who I remember very dearly as a when I was a congresswoman and we went to the homologation of the law that you've created, and that today we celebrate this with great pleasure, these 24 years. Dean Sandra Regina, my dear friend from the university. I'm also a university professor in São Paulo. Marilia, what a wonderful presentation you've made. Thank you very much. It's beautiful to see you again. Miss Ana Maria Valentin, who is the Secretary of Agriculture. Dr. Cristiano, through whom I greet all of the other members of this table. Mr. Wilson Rodriguez, the Director of Water Revitalization. Miss Alice Castillo, Director of Hydrology and Territory Administration or Management. Mr. Nelson Cunha de Marais. Mr. Antines Neto, who is the Superintendent of FMG, of FIENG. Vitor Cavalho Queiroz from CREA. And it is a great pleasure. It is a great pleasure for me to be here. Coming back to these symposiums, it's always turning back to our homes where you can see our old friends and the importance that the association gives to the development of water resources. For Sabesp is an honor and a great privilege to participate in this event because a theme that has been very dear to us, which is the water security issue. I'm sure that this would be dealt with very deeply. We had in the year 2014, 2015, water supply crisis in the city of São Paulo, in the metropolitan area. Today, Sabesp serves more than 28 million consumers. We are present in 375 municipalities, but back then it was very difficult. And the lessons we learned were many. So the importance of water security for the water supply was a lesson that we learned very hardly, but that has borne great results. I mean, we've invested in redundancy constructions, we've invested in the optimization of productive systems, in the operation of productive systems, we've invested in the flexibilization of operation of the metropolitan region system, and this investment was worth its while. Now in 2023-21, we went through a drought that was so severe that the dried months were so severe as we've had in 2014. However, the metropolitan region of São Paulo went just fine. And it did fine because of the investments that we've made before. So these investments that were made by Sabesp were investments in which many of these investments came from the discussion on the water resources management, as well as from the discussion on optimization and operation of system. They also came from many works that were presented here in previous symposiums. So the association has been a foster house for professionals. It's been a foster house of new ideas. And here I would like to remind you the 25 years that we're going to celebrate of this law, 9433, which came out from this association. I mean, the three letters that guided, in great part, the text of this law, 9433, they were discussed here. The first in 87 and the second in 89, and the third in 91. So, this collaboration that the Brazilian Association of Water Resources provides to the society is very important. And I would like to greet especially, Sinara, all of the organization of the event, as well as all of your administration with BRH for the incentive that BRH provides to the young researchers. And it is the young researchers who will allow for the development of water resources to continue to contribute for the society. So, as a former president of this association, I feel very proud to see that the association remains strong, and in spite of going through difficult times, it continues to organize an event that has more than 1,000 papers enrolled. So thank you very much. Congratulations to the association. Congratulations, Scenario, for this amazing job you've been doing for along these 2 years, and great event to everyone. Thank you, BR Hydro. I would like to thank very especially for the participation and collaboration of Mr. Wagner Soares Costa, the manager, of Fiengi. Thank you, Wagner. Ele fala assim. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite now to use the floor the Director of Hydrology and Territory from CPRM, the Brazilian Geological Service, Alice Castilho. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank for the invitation that was made to CPRM and congratulate Sinara as well as Marilia, and through whom I would like to congratulate all of the directors of BRH and the organizing committee of this amazing symposium. And what a great challenge, right? Especially going through such challenging times. I believe that for many of us, this is the first live event that we are participating during the pandemic. And through Finara, I would like to greet also the other authorities that are present here. Ladies and gentlemen, I also bring a warm hug from the president of CPRM, Mr. Esteves Comago, who can't be here with us today, as well as a warm hug from all of our colleagues from CPRM, some of whom are present here and others who are remotely present. We're going to have the opportunity to discuss here a series of themes that are important and relevant, as well as up to date, such as climate change and the effects of climate change on water crisis and energy crisis, the importance of energy, hydro energy, and the issue of the reservoir for the generation of power, the issue of sanitation that has already been mentioned by our colleagues from sanitation. So the issue of groundwater, the soil unit, new technologies of obtaining hydrological information, whether it's in situ or whether it's satellite. And we, as the Geological Service of Brazil, we have the obligation of providing the country with geological and hydrological information. And in this sense, we have worked since our foundation in the change of hydrometeorological networks and many part of the hydrological network of Brazil, which is managed by the National Agency of Waters. However, not only from the National Hydrological Network, but also other partnerships such as the ADASA network and an important network in the region of the Carbonifera, of the carbon basin in Brazil, as well as uh, the groundwater monitoring network, HIMAS. In this sense, we have more than 4,000 points that are monitored in Brazil. So in this moment, it is an obligation to say to you all how we've been going through this moment of pandemic. Part of our work was decreed as being essential because we also work in the part of operation of alert system as well as hydrological risks. So our teams were present in the field to the maintenance of this information of these stations, ensuring this maintenance and the operation of these alert systems. However, in the hydrological network, there was also a great effort from our part to minimize the impacts of the compromising of the hydrological network due to the pandemic. So when we look at the historical series along our professional lives, we are in the future we are going to see the impact of the pandemic in these 2 years in the operation of the data. Just as we look back and we see in the 90s, 91, 92, when there was the extinction of the deny. But we've done an amazing work to minimize these impacts in the historical series. All right. So I would like to make this um, comment on this event, and thank you everybody for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Would like now to invite the Director of Water Resources from the Ministry of Regional Development, Wilson Rodrigues de Mello Jr. Fantastic. Good evening. I would like to first of all thank for the invitation that was made by FIING and BRH and the government of Minas Gerais to participate in this event, to participate in this amazing symposium. This is the main event of the sector of water resources, and the ministry recognizes, and we want to participate more actively to bring to the management of public policies the lessons learned that we are going to see here in this symposium. So I'd like to thank Senaria for the organization, along with Marilia, for the amazing organization of this event. And in this moment of pandemic, we're able to have a live audience, which I see as important for the sharing of information. The Ministry of Regional Development has an important role in the management of water. Our minister, Rogério Marinho, he puts the ministry as the Ministry of the Waters. And this is not by chance, because the ministry has advanced in the ministerial reform, unifying many public policies geared towards water. And Secretary Marilia said brilliantly in her remarks the way that water is a cross-cutting element that unifies public policies. And in this mission, the Ministry of Regional Development has concentrated some important policies, such as the policy of water resources management that was cited a few times by the law 9433, which is under my ministry to manage the national policy of sanitation, the policy of irrigation, the policy of civil defense, the policy of regional development. And here I would like to open a parenthesis in regards to this important public policy, which this is the policy that we really hope to reduce in the regional, through which we hope to decrease regional equality in the country. And we see how water is important for minimizing the effects of inequality, considering the opportunities to water access differentiated, but not only in regards to quality, but also in regards to quantity. Not only quantity, but also quality. And the impact that lack of quality especially in terms of sewage, on the development of these populations, as well as the economical level of health. So the ministry has this awareness, and due to that, some important works are being developed in this arena, and I would like to highlight some, which are in the agenda of our discussion here in Belo Horizonte. The first element, which the ministry and the policy of water resources has an opportunity on, is in regards to the elaboration of the National Plan of Water Resources. The first plan that was approved in 2006 has will expire this year. And to continue in this planning, the ministry is about to consolidate a new national policy of water resources to the 2022-2040 horizon, with a challenge of making a mobilization for this planning, considering the moment of pandemic, and we're able to overcome this phase. And we invite all of the participants of this symposium to join us in the consolidation phase of this instrument, which is essential for the integration of all of the several policies which I've mentioned here initially.
Other important issues that we perceive as a challenge for water management in the country, mentioned by a series of participants that preceded me, is the challenge of moving forward with the implementation of the water infrastructure in the country. We see that facing these water crises that apparently are intensifying, as we have been seeing, so the tackling happens with less impact as possible. It's important the country has resilience on the amount of water to be destined for multiple use, and for that, infrastructures are essential. So there wouldn't be how to talk of water assurance in the São Francisco River basin if we didn't have the reservoir of Sobradinho and São Francisco waterfalls. assuring not only energy production but also multiple use in the periods of scarcity. Water services assured by these infrastructures are essential for perennialization and amount of use in water in the river basin. So this is a core element for all of us who perform in public policies. We have to consider this as a central issue, and the challenges are major in the country. We estimate by the National Water Safety Plan investments of 27 billion reais, so we can reach a level of water safety to standard in 2025, but projecting to 2050, these investments can reach 50 billion reais, and it was quoted by Sabesp how important these investments are, so we have redundancy in our systems to face these crisis moments and reduce the economic impacts resulting from them. Apart from the water infrastructure, in which I make a parenthesis, the relevance to establish a framework for infrastructure to assure legal safety, so these infrastructures should have the income for the services provided and take advantage of the ecosystem services. So revitalization and conservation of water and water resources are essential. An opportunity that was assured now on the Bill of Law of destatization of Eletrobras, allocation of resources considerable for the next 10 years, actions of revitalization of water resources, above all in the San Francisco River basins, Parnaíba, Rio Grande, and also the basin of Paranaíba River. They are 5.8 billion reais for the next few years destined to these public policies for conservation of water. And here I call your attention because this is a challenge to define which actions will have more impact on the recovery of these water resources. I understand this debate within the Brazilian Association of Water Resources is important so we can guide the destination of the resources the best way possible. And still, even mentioning the secretary here, in April we gathered in Unai city in this state, and the debate began in April with the arrival of our minister, brought a program that is beyond the application of water resources in these agendas turned to conservation and revitalization of water resources. The ministry developed this to seek for support in the private initiative. We were with FIEN at the beginning of the year seeking for the support with the Aguas Brasileiras program and sensibilization to have water, having the awareness of how important water is for the production means. We reached the cipher of 159 million reais of investment from the private sector in private for projects for recovery of water resources, projects of revitalization of water basins. This is another issue I'd like to leave for the association to know alternatives that we have to be creative in seeking actions for these issues, considering the scarcity of public resources. So I think with this, I close my speech. Once again, thanking to Sinara inclusively, who has an important role in water resources, coordinating the technical chamber of planning, which is in charge of approval of our plan in the beginning of next year, right, Sinara? So that's it. Thank you all. Good evening. Thank you. We'll now have the participation of the President Director of the National Water Agency and Basic Sanitation, Mrs. Cristiane Dias. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to first greet my friend Sinara, thank for the invitation, congratulate for the organization of the event, greet my friend Marilia. I only knew yesterday that Marilia wouldn't be here in person physically, but she left a very beautiful message in the beginning of the event. So a kiss, a warm hug to my friend Marilia. I greet all authorities on behalf of Mr. Haroldo, who is an extremely sensible and solidary person with the issues related to water resources, and I'd like to have the freedom today and taking the advantage that we are in November, end of the year, to make a balance of this year, which was such a difficult year. First of all, difficult because of the pandemic, demanded logistic and very large teamwork, and I want to congratulate and greet my colleagues, directors of Ana, Oscar, Marcelo, and Vitor Sabac, who are here in person to provide moral support, participating in the event. So it was a year in which we worked in teams very much. It was challenging regarding personnel management to be able to develop a work we knew couldn't stop, but in a differentiated way. And I'm happy to be here today with you all in person, but with all necessary care to face the pandemic. It was a year that was pretty challenging regarding this new agenda for basic sanitation. We incorporated this new competency last year, and this year we already took the first steps in our performance. This new framework is a very important one, but it's a law that is very complex, brings very different competency that is difficult to be able to communicate to society and to all the players involved in this agenda. So it's a challenge. We have been working very hard. We count with the collaboration and goodwill and the spirit, really innovative to be able to make a difference, a spirit of a mission from many public workers at ANA who help us. We know it's an agenda that we can't go wrong in. It's an extremely important agenda, as mentioned by the people that preceded me, that goes towards this principle we seek so much of water security. ANA already handled water resources and now has this look more turned towards quality of our water resources. So I always have been mentioning in the events how much this agenda is dear to us and is difficult, but we are being able to handle it, and we'll keep working to seeking universalization, looking towards citizens, better service providers. And it also was a challenging year because we had a hydro energy crisis that demanded once again a teamwork and working always very in a very cross-cutting way. We had to involve all areas, all superintendencies performing. There were many meetings. Many times our performances were behind the stage, but we worked a lot, especially in the line of democratic and participative policies. We created a working group involving all the players, and that's how ANA has been working with situation rooms, its crisis rooms. I think it was a year of consolidation of this participation model that we once again put that proof, and that worked out to be able to gather quickly all players, all these people involved in that basins, all the users, and to be able to do a communication work, to be able to inform, absorb suggestions, to be able to work with a crisis that shows enhancements and improvements. And we also have a year of 2022 that's going to be pretty complex. We have to care for our reservoirs, and I come back to the speech from Marilia when she mentions what we learn from this crisis, the need we have to have planning. Planning is very important. We can't forget about this in our country. Nowadays we have regions where we have conflicts between users. We have a smaller offer than the demand is, and this is going to become more and more frequent in our country. So we can't close our eyes to this reality, and we have to work in the line of management, always following the law in a participative and democratic way, and better management to try somehow to minimize these effects of these crises that have been more and more frequent. But I think that the year was a difficult one, yes, but we closed the year in a good way with the sensation of duty done, duty accomplished, of work done, and also with hope and a renewed hope, because we know 2022 is going to be a hard working year too. So this night, I especially thank you all who are here. It's not a beautiful event. The ones who followed the organization know how complex it was to do an event of this size in person. It was a pretty detailed organizations. I congratulate you all. I wish you good work, productive week, many reflections, many studies. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now hear to the Dean of the Federal University of Minas Gerais, UFMG, Professor Sandra Regina Goulart Almeida. Good evening, everyone. I greet everyone who is here with us, and also the people who follow us virtually. To me, it's a huge pleasure as Dean of the Federal University of Minas Gerais to be here and welcome everyone to our city and to our state. As a federal university placed in Minas Gerais, it's a huge pride and a satisfaction to be here in person today. It's the first in-person event in which I participate. I wanted to be here because of the symbology of the event. We are still facing a pandemic, but this is the beginning, we hope, of a slow, gradual process of returning to our activities in a safe manner. So here I leave my solidarity to all people who faced and suffered this pandemic, and with the pandemic that has been the largest crisis over the last years, the humanitarian, social crisis that has affected the most vulnerable populations very hardly. I'd like to begin greeting Secretary Marilia. Thank you for your words. Me and Secretary Marilia are from the Curator Council of FABEMIC, and here I'd like to also mention the importance of having the support of FABEMIG and from all other FABs who helped in the participation of with the participation of many teachers and researchers who are here. FABs are a heritage from our state as well as our university. So it's very good to be able to count and see the investments in these institutions, which are state institutions above anything. I'd like to greet Mr. Nelson, who represents Copasa. It's a pleasure to be here. Professor Monica Porto from Sabesp. I greet also Alice Castilho from CPMR. Mr. Wilson representing the Ministry of Regional Development. I greet also Mrs. Cristiane Diaz representing ANA, and I greet very dearly our Secretary of Agriculture, Livestock and Supply, Anna Valentini, a major partner of our universities. We've been working jointly, always thinking in development of our state and our cities. And I greet also Minister of the Federal Accounts Court, Mr. Haroldo Cedras, who awards us with his presence. He's a reference to all of us when we talk about waters in the Brazilian context. And I thank Professor Senera Brock, organizer of this event. I thank you for the invitation, and also on behalf of Sinara, I greet all others organizers of the event. I also greet Mr. José Vicente, representing Flávio Hospi from FIENC. To me, it's a huge pleasure to be here talking about water with a broader and plural context. Theme of the event is water, multiple dimensions. So when we talk about multiple dimensions, the plurality of this theme of water, we have to think, of course, also of the players involved in this theme. And when we talk about research, we have to talk about the importance of the interactions between these players: public power, government of Minas Gerais, São Paulo, and other state governments. We are talking about universities, the academia that has an important role in the production and knowledge production, in broadcasting knowledge, and also when we think on the interaction and importance, we talk about the companies that support us. That's what has been called the triple propeller. And now we say it's a five wise propeller, and an element that's so important to us, which is the environment. So these interactions, all these players performing jointly, have a huge power, which is the power of thinking about public policies, knowledge production, and as mentioned by Marilia, the future we want for our states and our country. In the beginning of the pandemic, the indigenous leader and writer Aito Krenak was in UFMG virtually, but he said something that sounded very strong to me. If we are going to face a pandemic that was beginning at the moment last year, still we have to have learned with the experience, and we won't be able to go back to the normal as we know it, as we knew it, because we have to know how to work jointly. That was very impactful for me. Something we learned with the pandemic is the relevance of the interaction. We have to work in a cooperative way as people. I protect myself, I protect the other person, and as institutions, UFMG, public power, companies, and civil society, and also as a country. So that's why it's important to reflect in this event about the international component. And in this sense, I'd like to render my thanks to Professor Milo Nascimento, a reference to our institution that has strongly performed in this event and that has made the connection with the international field, knowing about the interaction of Brazil with other countries for knowledge production, for to find solutions for the 2030 agenda, which is the agenda that places waters in a highlighted position, and the agenda from MG. And I'd like to close, as all people from the state, quoting, like Marilia does, our Guimarães Rosa, who is a former student from UFMG, an icon to all of us when we think Minas Gerais, and he says something that has to do with the event, which is an event that seeks to be plural. I liked the reference that said the symposium from BR Hydro is a plural event. And Guimarães Rosa says that living is plural. To live is plural. And life, according to Guimarães Rosa, is a work of us all. So this event represents this seek for solutions for a plural life and seeking solutions jointly. So in this sense, I welcome you all to our city, to our state. I hope you have the opportunity to go to our university. So welcome you all, and it's a huge pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dean. Now we invite Secretary of State of Agriculture, Livestock and Supply from the state of Minas Gerais, Ana Valentini.
Good evening, everyone. To me, it is a great satisfaction to be here with you today. I would like then to greet Senaria and congratulate you for the organization of this event that to us is not just important, it is fundamental. I would also like to greet my dear friend Marilia Mello, who's been doing an amazing work here in our secretary, and through her, greet all of our colleagues here, my colleagues here that have worked very hard for the completion of this event. Also, I'd like to greet Mr. Batista da Fieng, and through him, everyone who has made an effort to make this event possible. I would like to congratulate Mr. The director of Fieng, and through him, all of the other authorities that have already been mentioned. As Marilia has said, water, the concern with water management is what brought me to the administration. To those who don't know, I am a rural producer in Bonfinopolis. Probably all of you who come from other places, you probably don't know. It's a small city in the northeast of Minas Gerais, and we produce food, we produce grain, and we have a very big problem with water in our region. So back in 2016, I've always had a very strong participation with third sector organizations on the area of the environment. Since I was a college student, I have a degree in forest engineering, and we say so much that we need to have sustainability and all of the productive processes, but how can we do it? How can we ensure that this comes to the front line? So you see the challenge. I mean, look at how much knowledge all of you who are here today have already in water management, scientific knowledge in research, in so many different things, in so many important things in terms of knowledge has already been produced by you who are here. And how can we ensure that this comes to the front line? Because the farmer who is in the streams, you probably don't know these places that I have mentioned, like Bonfinopolis, but it was this issue that made me learn a tool from the government of Minas Gerais that is called productive environmental zoning, which is a tool in which you're going to do the zoning of your sub-basin or the sub-basins. So I started to mobilize my neighbors and say, look, you can't do water management only in your property. This has to extend to the sub-basin you are in. So we started to mobilize our neighbors, looking for resources so that we would be able to carry out this study in our sub-basin for the sake of finally getting the management of our resources that was becoming more and more scarce. And at that moment, we had the support of Sbrh, and this movement started to grow up to the point that we created an association of irrigating farmers, and in 6 months we had 350 associate members from 14 municipalities. So this work called the attention. It made me be indicated to the selective process here in Minas to be part of the one of the secretaries of our governor. And this is why Marilia said that Ana came here because of water. And we have another challenge, just as big as the management, which is to increase the offer of food on the planet. I believe that everybody already has these numbers in mind, but everybody knows that no food is produced without water. So we need to pay attention to our survival in terms of food production. So I've always said that everything grows, everything increases, everybody wants to buy a new phone. So what the Chinese want to do with the money that they are going to get from the phone that we are all going to buy? They want to buy food. They want to eat meat, which increases the need of water, because 800 million Chinese have never eaten meat before, have never eaten beef, so it's a big challenge. So we're able to conciliate everything and allow that all of this knowledge comes to the front line. Unfortunately, what we see in our country today in regards to livestock is not a good environment for discussion or of working together, as our dean said, so that we can have a real sustainable production here in Brazil. I've always accessed the main websites of information here in Brazil, and it's very rare in which there isn't a single article criticizing livestock production. Always getting punctual problems, and I've never seen on these sites any article that called population, the urban population, to their responsibility in regards to the environmental preservation or the rational use of water. Since we are in the 21st century and we have trash spread all over the city in Brazil from beginning to end, I don't see anybody saying anything about that. Everything everybody does is criticize. And we need to overcome this moment because we need to sit around the table and say, we have a big problem in our country. Our country is one that has a great potential to produce food for all over the planet, and everybody wants this water. And we need to sit around the table and ensure that all of this great knowledge that we have here come to the front line. And what Wilson did is amazing. And we, from the Secretary of Agriculture, we have a great partnership with MDR for more than 10 years, carrying out revitalization of the San Francisco Basin. But the San Francisco Basin is huge. We need more resources and we need more arms to be able to overcome, because in the pace that we're moving, it's too slow, and the impact and degradation are too huge, regardless of how hard we try. So I believe that this is the time. It is a time for all of us to sit together around the table, and I'm going to be here with you along this week in some of the debates whenever possible. I am going to be with you, and I kindly ask you to bring to all of the cities where you've come from, here in Minas Gerais, the Secretary of Agriculture in the environmental organizations, FIENG, FAENG, our academy universities, we're all together, all concerned and open. We want to talk, we want to dialogue so that we're able to build together this country that is more fair and especially more sustainable. Because I always say, the most difficult thing is the G, which is governance, when it comes to the OGSs, because we need everybody to sit around the table and sit together. Governance is always the hardest one. But I have a lot of hope that everything that is going to be talked about here can bring us a better future. Welcome to Minas Gerais. We invite you all to eat some cheese rolls. It's a great joy to have you all here. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to hear the Minister of the Court of Accounts, Haroldo Cedras, who is the rapporteur of Law 9433 from 1997. Good evening to all of you. I would like to, and as I couldn't fail to greet the authorities who are present here in the opening of this event that I believe to be one of great importance. And in spite of all the difficulties that we have to try to be in events not only in Brazil but also abroad, I felt very happy and honored when I received the invitation from Dr. Sinara Braun, because undoubtedly I couldn't have received any more honorable invitation, and I couldn't have received any invitation that has the power of a summon, such as an invitation to be able to come back to participate in these evening events of BRH, because in this event I am sure that there is a rare opportunity of resuming my knowledge and increasing my knowledge here in Belo Horizonte, and say that in this environment, and also with those that are participating online of this amazing meeting, which is the meeting that is the opening of a new normal in a perspective of treating remotely and in a live environment, discussing the most important issue. I personally do not believe that we are discussing here and elsewhere in so many events the sustainability of the planet, that we are discussing issues of environmental crisis and food security and everything that concerns us, without putting in the center of all of these discussions the issue of an unalienable asset, which is water. And I particularly only know another unalienable asset, in addition, of course, to the feelings of love, etc., which is democracy. And in this evening, I am here to very quickly bring this message of desire, of commitment that I took with this issue of water so many years ago, that this goes beyond the professional and personal commitments. This certainly is a life commitment to me, to my family, to my state, to my small municipality of Valente, to all of us who live on this planet Earth. I would like to say that as I greet our dear friend Sinara for having had the courage to bringing us all together in spite of all the difficulties regarding logistics that we are experiencing now. But after hearing so many things, I couldn't fail to say that when I got here, I already started the resumption of this knowledge on water resources and say that the kind words of those that came before me, that spoke before me, and the knowledge that was shared here today, who are participating live and virtually, of course, I couldn't fail to say that I was very happy when I was able to hear the kind words of Secretary Marilia Mello, as well as our director and president of Ana Cristiane Diaz, of our dean from UFMG, Dr. Rejane Aguilar, the secretary Ana Valentini, who spoke just before me, as well as Professor Monica Porto, with whom I've had the opportunity of spending time in such important moments so that we're able to have a law in Brazil that is not the status quo that we had in the discussion, as well as in the confection of a new law to manage an asset so important and so unalienable, sometimes even intangible, which is water or the Brazilian water resources. And I see here in this auditorium friends and colleagues from that moment, from that period, because it was a purpose, a proposal that had already been in the Congress for over 12 years. And I was receiving not only a responsibility, I was receiving a mission of ensuring that that bill became what we want the most always, which is apart from everything that we know as the legal debris in Brazil, which is gigantic, and that sometimes helps us and sometimes it gets in the way, but we wanted that that law that would deal and would give a new format to the administration of these assets in Brazil be, above all, that what we call a citizen law or a citizen-oriented law, a law that could remove that huge power. That could grant that huge power that took that power from the three institutions and give that power to the people. This is the only asset we cannot manage without the users. This is the only asset that, to be well managed, it has to count on the participation of those that make a responsible use, not only in Brazil, but all over the planet. And the law is here. It's been more than 25 years I'm here as a vigilant. I'm awake as a partner. I'm here with this commitment as a citizen. And I want to continue discussing, maybe in the future, for more 25 years. And this is possible, I know. I couldn't fail to register also how much I've learned in Minas Gerais and Belo Horizonte. And I've had many, many gatherings here in the neighboring cities. I remember very well some of the gatherings with this open dialogue with the Minas Gerais Society, but they followed me here and elsewhere people from Minas Gerais that had a knowledge that was extremely useful to me to propose to the National Congress a project that could be embraced by the society and supported by all of the parties. I couldn't, on behalf of all of the parties in Minas Gerais and the congressmen of all the parties, I would like to register what I've learned with Congressman Paulo Romano, who was with me in Brazil and elsewhere in this quest for knowledge so that we could have a law that needed to be changed every day. And our reference, his and mine, is a law from 1439, which is the law of purity in Germany, which is stronger and stronger as we move forward on the cultural, technological, entrepreneurial, agronomical. In other words, maybe this doesn't reach the longevity of the purity law, but I hope that we all have a common responsibility and the capacity to continue to use this tool as an intelligent management tool. And I know that everyone who is here in this environment and that is following us online, and here I refer to all of the directors, to the secretaries of the federal government who are here with their intelligence and with their capacity of managers with great responsibility in this area who have already had used the floor. I would like to express our gratitude and the desire that we have. And I would like to mention, to commend this amazing work that Anna has been doing continuously and now even stronger. And I would like to greet the directors of ANA, not only not only the director or president, but also like to make a reference so that you understand this beautiful connection that there is between the citizen of the past and the citizen of today who has this continuous concern of keeping on um, bringing closer and closer, coming closer and closer together. And I would like to mention Dr. Vitor Sabag. And through you, I would like to greet all of the directors of state companies in the area of water resources and sanitation, as well as in the municipalities in the state of Minas Gerais, because here is where I started to visit Belo Horizonte with that desire of that who knows that here I could always drink clean water. Miss Dean, I started to come to Belo Horizonte even before joining the university. And as soon as I joined the university, I started to understand the importance in the scientific and technical realm of Minas Gerais. I, as a national counselor of many important Minas Gerais had many counselors such as Guimarães Rosa, who is going to uh, his words are going to be the beacon for the management of water resources in the semi-arid and everything that involves this necessity that we have, that we think today a little bit outside of the box, ensuring that maybe we have a third better new asset, which to me is unalienable, and that today we can say that through the works carried out by Embrapa and so many research institutions, universities, and so many initiatives that were taken in terms of the responsibility of those who are in the field or in the private initiative, occupying the soil, which is a Brazilian soil. So this to me is a new asset that is inseparable. Water and soil, soil and water, that is a binom, and I really hope that from this event more subsidies and more elements can be harvested so that together we can build this future in regards to the protection of water, the environment, and the decrease of burns, as well as the issues that we have informed, especially at the Court of Account on climate change. So I would like to today not take much of your time, especially because Sinara summoned me to a conversation and a frank dialogue with you tomorrow. And I came here just to give you a warm hug and tell you that I believe that this event will bring great results to the advancements that we are going to have in the application of Law 9433 in the next 25 years, with this opportunity that we have that Brazil cannot lose. I mean, cannot miss bringing to this technical scientific field and to this field of citizenship the technological advances that are coming in the area of technology of information with the tools that will make citizens participate more in this activity in the management of water resources in Brazil. I'm not going to take much of your time because I know that you want to hear Senara, me, myself too. And I would like just to leave you my warm hug and express my satisfaction for being back in Belo Horizonte, back in Minas Gerais, to drink water from a clean fountain and also to participate in some event that can bring me some news in terms of everything that everybody knows, which is the food. Minas Gerais has the amazing food, and of course, that makes us slave to the kindness of the Minas Gerais people. So I would like to greet everybody, congratulate you all for the amazing event that I already foresee. So thank you very much, and I wish you all a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Minister Haroldo Cedrais. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's hear to the acting president of FIDENG, Federation of the Industry of Minas Gerais, José Batista de Oliveira. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome all of you on behalf of CIENG system, greet everyone at the table. On behalf of Secretary of Agriculture of Minas Gerais, FIENG believes that water is the essential resource for life in the planet. Talking about its relevance is talking about survival of human species, conservation, and balance of biodiversity. In this sense, to consider water as a strategic factor for markets to produce food and goods attracts broad discussion because of its essential feature to maintain life. Integrated management of water resources is of large relevance, seeking recognition in the water cycle, preservation of its multiple uses, its interrelation with the ecosystems, and management of water resources by co-participation of public managers, users, and the local populations. With this perception, Flavio Hosky, our president, embraced the proposal presented by the Environment and Sustainable Development, Dr. Marília Carvalho de Melo, being an entity to co-promote the event in Minas Gerais. FIENG, through its environment management, is represented in over 30 state committees, 7 federal committees, in the State Council of Water Resources, and many technical chambers and working groups in the basin committees of the states and federal rivers, always seeking to perform in a collaborative ways, solving the problems presented, reinforcing the relevance of multiple use of waters as it offers the industry of the state information about the proper use of water within environmental norms and laws. We call the attention of companies as to the changes in the country, and we incentivize technological innovation in use of water in the industry. We can quote some of the mobilization programs, training programs in water management and industry done by FIENG. mobilization and sensibilization of the industry in the first semester of 2021, partnership with the Mineiro Institute of Water Management, unions. We made another workshop on the regulation and use management with over 400 participants. We've had technical advisory on the proper use of water within the law, ways of entry and exit of water, industry consumption, with action plans for efficient use of water and destination of affluents. Crisis in 2021, it was a huge mobilization to bring awareness on water consumption in society and the production sector to reduce the impact of the new water and energy crisis, considered the worst one over the last 91 years. The issues presented and the large numbers of participants, users, researchers, teachers, students, show the relevance of water to us all. I'd like to thank the commitment and dedication of FIENG team, represented by our environment manager, Wagner Soares Costas, and analysts Rony Frank and David Lucas de Oliveira. We hope the event is productive and that debates bring proposals to leverage the business environment together with caring for environment sustainability and enhancement of life quality of people. Thank you very much. Have a great event as all. Thank you, Acting President of FIENG, José Batista de Oliveira. Ladies and gentlemen, to close the speeches and open the 24th Symposium of IBR Hydro, we'll hear to the President of the Brazilian Association of Water Resources, IBR Hydro, Mrs. Sinara Olinsky-Bloch. Good evening. I'll apologize because I'm far from you to talk without the mask, and also I'm sure that even if I made a huge effort, I wouldn't be able to mention all my satisfaction, all my joy to see you here and to imagine our water community watching us on the web. I'm sure I have no ability to mention this in words, to mention this gratitude feeling. So I made a script so I wouldn't take too long. Otherwise, I would spend a lot of time thanking everyone. So good evening, and on behalf of the present directory of our board at the Association of Water Resources here in the audience, the organizing local committee for our symposium, led by Secretary Marília Melo, who I consider a great friend, partner, and the scientific committee for the event, which was led brilliantly by Professor Nilo. Thank you very much. And I greet on behalf of them, our associates who are all the workers who are in the backstage making everything happen, and they are not few. The supporters and the participants and the promoters, Industry Federation of the State of Minas Gerais and the government of Minas Gerais. Be welcome, everyone. And my greetings and thanks for being with us here in person in this opening solemnity. Mr. José Batista de Oliveira, President of the Industry Federation of the State of Minas Gerais, His Excellency Minister of the Federal Accounts Court, Dr. Haroldo Cedrais, and here I will dearly replicate your mention of a soldier at the 433. Our Dean at UFMG, Sandra Regina Goulart Almeida, thank you. Marília Carvalho de Melo, who is with us virtually, Secretary and President of Sustainable Development and Environment, leader of our local commission. Ana Maria Soares Valentini, Secretary of Agriculture, Livestock and Supply of the state of Minas Gerais, and we know the relevance of this water user, importance of agriculture and all supply. Dr. Cristiane Dias, who will have her birthday tomorrow, President Director of National Water Agency, on whose behalf I greet the directors, Dr. Oscar, Dr. Victor, Dr. Ricardo, thank you very much. Secretary, representing Minister of Development, Rogério Marinho, and also Secretary Sérgio, Mr. Wilson Rodrigues de Melo, who is the Director of Water Resources and Revitalization of Water Basins, with the challenge of leading and coordinating and closing our national water resource plan that will be in action next year. Director of CPRM, Alice, thank you for represent President Estevos, Pedro Colnago. Monica, dear Monica Porto, our first president of the Brazilian section of Water Resources, our first woman president, who honors us with her presence. Director of the Regional Sabesp Systems, representing Dr. Benedito Braga, who is the president of Sabesp. Thank you, Monica, for being here. Also to the National Superintendent for Environment Development, Nelson Cunha Guimarães, representing President Carlos Eduardo Tavares Castro. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you for the orchestra presented to us. Ortigas Neto, Superintendent of the Saeng Senar System, representing President Antônio Pitangui de Salva. Thank you very much. And finally, Vitor Carvalho de Queiroz, CREA coordinator here at Minas Gerais. So I thank you all for your presence. You who are watching the opening ceremony of the 24th Symposium of Water Resources, and the ones watching us virtually through our website, through our app, and also through our YouTube channel. Our association is a profitless non-profit association that congregates institutions, people connected to water resources. Our institution's goal is to move forward in planning and water management in our country, in scientific research and support to technical and university teaching. Since its establishment for October 1st, 1977, we follow and participate Brazilian society's awakening regarding water resources, because water is a fundamental factor for humanity's development. And we live in a deep reflection moment when Law 9433 that establishes the national resources broadly discussed and promoted in the association environment is about to celebrate 25 years of edition. The existence of available water in quality and quantity in accessible prices for multiple uses is essential. It's vital. It's necessary. That's no news. And it connects us in multiple dimensions. Water really connects. Thank you, Gilles, for last event with this Water Connect events. Now we approach the multiple dimensions of water. Protagonism and active participation of Brazilian Association of Water Resources in relevant situations, strategic situations, in solving many issues regarding water, motivated by the challenges imposed by the pandemic and also difficulties of the institutional context, technical, politic contexts, and with so many achievements and reflections, but also many challenges, as well as the waters. Together, we are stronger, I'm sure. And for that reason, multiple dimensions of water is the core theme of the 24th Symposium of Water Resources. Multiple water dimensions draft our agendas and in our 24th Symposium of Water Resources that happens for the first time in person and also in a virtual manner through 9 conferences, 13 roundtables, over 1,000 papers sent, 820 paper presentations will be done during the event. Technical special sessions proposed by our associates, technical scientific expositions, mini courses in previous periods, some still today, technical visits on Friday, and cultural activities will happen in the 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources to bring solutions to the issues, the effectiveness, economic efficiency of the water management instruments, issues related to climate change and alternatives to adaptations and impact reduction, teaching and water resources and how we learn in the pandemic, and all contextualizations, pollution in large cities, water resource management with the new framework, as well as financing for universalization of sanitation, institutional issues, technical issues, operational issues of cross-cutting sectors regarding the water sector, regarding the operation of hydroelectric power plants, impacts in the electric system, safety of dams, subterranean hydrology, innovation and challenges, as well as perspectives and space monitoring of water resources, reserving water, facing the environment perspectives, multiple use, empowerment of the next generation of decision makers regarding water management, relevance of our youngsters, our futures, soil, humidity, and also physical controls, data, applied data, data applied to water resources. All systems and subjects will be approached here between the 21st and 26th of November. Technical commissions of the Brazilian Association of Water Resources and all subjects approached by the regional units will select the best scientific papers in the middle school graduation, masters and doctorates as an incentive for the flourishing of our future scientists. And we are honored for the importance provided to ABR Hydro in managing this issue. We'll share what we learned with the pandemic of COVID-19, and we had many learnings. Pandemic taught us. We lost many companions of the water community, and I share my feelings with all who lost their dear ones here in the pandemic. But we learned a lot with the coronavirus pandemic, and we will share these learnings. And this edition of the symposium is very special because of this, because it was all built in the pandemic environment. But planning our recovery in the water community, because we believe in better days to gather authorities, researchers, teachers, students, professionals, technicians, entrepreneurs, equipment traders, users, managers, to exchange knowledge and experiences, to establish partnerships, generate businesses, build solutions, bring dialogue between science and technology, bring production sectors closer to communities, consolidate research networks, and celebrate our friendship. With the pandemic, digitalization of ABR Hydro happened, and we became more perennial. In 2020, we had 5 events that were totally online within our platform. We kept 11 Telegram groups to make our conversation more frequent. We had ABR Hydro app. We made many webinars and lives. We are really coming back strong, and I thank you, all of you. And in this event, we are expecting 3,000 participants, occupying 6,000 square meters area. We learned that much more than great protagonists, our best role is to be excellent moderators. Bringing everyone to promote activities in our symposium. Following a tradition since 2013, civil society is a part of our public in BR Hydro. So between 21 and 26th of November, Minas Gerais becomes the capital of waters, with many actions to disseminate knowledge and information regarding the issues of the symposium. It'll be more than 40 activities promoted by many partner institutions, open to the public. We are ready to promote constructive connections, to develop feelings, to defend science, technology, good water governance, and an excellent event. We worked a lot for this. So this is a proper environment to gather in positive connections on behalf of Brazilian society based on the water theme, which is really plural. Once again, my special thanks to Afiengi in through its president Flávio Rosco and all areas involved in the co-production of this event. The government of Minas Gerais, Secretariat of Environment and Sustainable Development, our president at the local organizing commission and all other secretariats. Thank you. And institutions that are part of this event. Special thanks to Professor Nilo Nascimento, our president at the Scientific Commission. Thank you, Professor Nilo, for the peaceful, transparent, and balanced way you led the construction of relevant themes and included in the reflections in the national as well as in the international level. Our thanks to the members of the Advisory Council, composed by the former presidents of the Brazilian Association of Water Resources, who we call DINOS, who collaborated actively for ABR Hydro to become what it is today. We are honored of our history. I'm honored to be part of this community written by the associated who point towards scenarios and prospection for the next 45 years. I hope this symposium promotes satisfaction, enchantment, vibration, dynamism, learnings, resilience, and resistance to tackle the many challenges we have with water that also are essential ingredients to move forward in caring for water, planning and managing water resources. Now, breaking the protocol, we will go through a very special moment in our association, which will be led, and I pass the floor to our former president, Luis Gabriel Azevedo.
Good evening, Senara. Good evening, everyone who's participating in this symposium. Those of you who are in the audience, and so many of you who didn't have the opportunity to be live physically, but you're with us virtually. I would like to greet Secretary Marilia, and through her, greet all the table. And also, Marilia, I would like to thank you and all of the government of Minas Gerais for the support and the welcome. And I would like to be very brief in spite of being a very emotional moment, because after so many references to the Minas Gerais cuisine, and I'm sure that the participants are looking forward to the next step, which will be the cocktail. But I'm sure that each one of you are going to enjoy this moment that, like Sinara has explained, is something that is out of the protocol, which is the award given to Mr. Terrabasso. But today, because of many issues, Sinara and the director of BRH, as well as the organizing committee, has decided to invert the agenda. And now we're going to give this award, and I feel very honored to do that. I'm going to share my screen so that I can make a presentation to all of you about our Flávio Terra Basti Award, as well as our the person honored in this 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources in Belo Horizonte. To those who are not familiarized, the award was established back in the 1990s. BRH would like to thank publicly the contributions of Mr. Terrabache in the water resources. Um, and to perpetuate this honor, BRH instituted this prize or this award that is granted every 2 years. The objective of the award is to recognize the action of people and institutions who have made amazing contributions for the management of water resources and is granted, as I said before, every 2 years in the Symposium of BRH. The criteria for receiving the award are the following. There are names that are suggested by the the indication can be made by anybody so long as they justify the reason why they are indicating that person. The choice of the winner is carried out by a committee made by at least 3 people that must be composed of a member of BR Hydro, a member of the executive secretary, and a participant known as with great competence in the area. This is the committee of this year. It was presided by our dear Vice President of BRH, Mr. Cristóvão, and we had the participation of the professor of the University of Paraná and Susana Montenegro, who is a former director of BRH. She is also a professor of Pernambuco, and she's also the director of the Pernambuco Agency of Water and Climate, and by myself as the president of BR Hydro and also president of the councils that Senara has mentioned. The runners-ups, the first winner was Flavio, and from there we've had 9 people who have been granted with this, have received this award, and many of them participating in our symposium. And let's talk about the person who's being honored tonight. When we were preparing the presentation, we thought of what sentence could be used to describe this person, and what came to our mind was the following: a person who has broken barriers and has paved the way for the new generations. And here we have the person who is honored with, who is awarded with this award. She is an engineer. She has a PhD from the University of São Paulo. She also is a professor. She was the director of Hydro Department from the University of USP. She was also the president of the Curator Department of the Hydraulic Department. She was the president of the Committee of Integration of the Hydro Basin of Paraíba do Sul River. She was also the Deputy Secretary of the Secretary of Water Resources of the State of São Paulo during a critical moment of the great drought that affected the state of São Paulo. She was also the President Director of the Technological Center, Hydrological Electrical Center. She was also the first woman to be the president of the Association of Water Resources. She was also the president of the Water Resources Association. She was also the first woman to be chosen as the engineer of the year from the state of São Paulo, and she's currently the director of Sabesp. I believe that these pictures, and especially the picture in the lower part, in the lower left side, shows why breaking barriers and paving the way is the way that we use to define this moment. And the winner said, passion you don't choose, right? You just follow it. And waters have led me to find an amazing profession and also find what made my life complete and thorough. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, our winner and the winner of the Fabio Terrabat is the first woman to receive this award, our dear colleague, president of BRH, Monica Porto, who is with us today at the table. And I would like, of course, applause applauses are more than deserving. I would like to take 2 or 3 minutes to conclude and talk a little bit more about Monica's history in water resources. First, talk about her using kind words from people that know her. And one of these people is Professor Braga, who's a colleague with whom we have worked so many years. And we've chosen this sentence, this quote from Professor Braga. He said, Professor Braga is an amazing, ethical human being. She's kind. It is more than fair that she receives this award. I'm sure that Fabio Bach is going to be very happy to have his name connected with this amazing professional. At BRH Hydro, her contribution as the director in so many roles that she fulfilled and has fulfilled and keeps on fulfilling are indescribable. And I believe that I will try to show that with some pictures. Maybe you don't recognize some of the people who were younger in these pictures, but they're still part of this history with Monica and with all of you who are here today. And in her own words, Monica said the following. Many ask me, how does it feel to be a woman, an engineer woman? I was able to take part in the many changes that happened in my generation, for example, as choosing my career and my life choice. It is very important to understand that there are differences in gender, opinions, and many others, and you need to respect them. Diversity and intention. In her journey with BRH, Monica has brought us a lot of knowledge, and as we've said in the beginning, she has paved the path not only for young engineers, but mostly and most importantly, as an example for engineers from the area of human resources. In one of her students wrote the following. She said, being a woman in engineering brings a lot of challenges, and having a positive image such as that of Monica, with all of her protagonism, undoubtedly is a source of inspiration and power to many young engineer women and professionals from water who are in the strive to build a better world with more environmental balance and sanitary justice. And Juliana kept on saying, to this day, I haven't said the sentence, but Monica was my tutor during my PhD, and seeing Monica again is amazing. I'm very proud to be her student. I use this time because this is how I consider myself. Forever, a student who will always learn from her. Among her many conquests, she was the first woman to be chosen by the um Institute of Engineering from the state of São Paulo as an emeritus member. In addition to being an engineer and a professional in water resources, most of all, and as she has manifested today during her opening remarks, as a professor, Monica leaves us the following message. Embracing challenges, learn, study. My message to the future professionals is the following. Embrace the profession. The country needs professionals who are dedicated and trained to solve issues. Get involved with real problems. Keep up to date with the new technologies. It is with this, recognize the multidisciplinarity of water resources. And as a professor, I say, study. It is worth every second of your investment. And with that, Monica, I would like to thank you for your amazing contribution in the area of water resources along all of these years. It is a shame that I can't be there to give you a warm hug, but I hand the floor to our President Sinara, who is going to give you the award. A warm hug, my dear Monica, and congratulations. And in this moment, I am going to hand the floor to Dr. Benedito Braga, who has some words to tell you. Good evening, everyone. My dear Sinara, congratulations for the opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to address this amazing audience. I would like to thank Maria, Onilo, for the amazing work that the Mineiro people always do for our ABR hydro. I still say ABRH. And I would like to say that it's a great satisfaction to be able to greet the director of our team, amazing director of the Polytechnical School, and a woman with a great intelligence, with a in work and education. You are an example of an example. You are a role model for our association, a role model for those who participate and who have the competence. They receive the acknowledgement of this institution. So, Sinara, congratulations for participating for this amazing work. The committee that correctly chose the best proposal that came. And from my heart, I want to surprise you. So, congratulations, Monica. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you can't surprise me like that because I could have a heart attack. You've really surprised me. And I didn't expect that. I took the decision of coming here in the last minute, and I am now being awarded, which brings the name of Mr. Terrabates. He's the great inspiration for this law, and he worked with Mr. Sadras, and I want to tell you that I feel very, very grateful to this association. Everything that this association has built, to all of the former presidents, and now Sinara, who very soon is going to join the dinosaurs that call this company ABIH instead of AB Hydro. Anyway, I would just like to acknowledge my gratitude for this award. As I said, I'm here and I'm going to fight with you later, Lutécio. This text was supposed to be private. This text is going to be published tomorrow. This text is called Women in Water, or the Women from Water. And I couldn't fail to thank the kind words said by Mr. Gabriel Azevedo, my dear friend, and my two colleagues, Gabriel and Braga, have spoken, my best friends. And I think I repeat something that I've always said. We don't never come to any point to the top of a mountain by themselves. We can make a career by yourself. I remember that when this is actually a sentence from Kepler, a quote from Kepler, who said, Newton actually, he said, I only got here because I was on the shoulders of giants. And I believe that this is my feeling. All of those who came before me in the association, they built the association. And all of them that came after me also built. They kept on building the association. I have the joy of having found people in my way that opened the doors to me. So this is why I would like to thank Professor Braga. Braga was a very important person in my professional life. And great part of what I did, I owe to the doors that he opened. I believe that it's never too much to acknowledge that we never travel alone. I believe it is actually the opposite. It is an obligation that we have to think. Braga is one of these amazing people that have opened a lot of doors. Gabriel is someone that we met. Ruben and I met Gabriel in 1998 when we lived in Colorado, United States. And Gabriel came up as an amazing friend, a friendly colleague. So, Gabriel, thank you very much for your kind words. But I believe that for everybody who's here, I'm very proud to be part of this association. I'm very proud of the association, as I said, being the foster home of so many great professionals. And if I can be a role model, I feel honored. I feel honored that I am the role model for the youth that come after me. As I said in that text, this question, the issue of being the first woman, I've been a first woman in so many things. I was the first engineer in POS. I was the first engineer to be honored by the Institute of Engineering. I was the first woman to be the president of ABRH. So I like that this serves as an example, but in truth, I believe that it only reflects a life of work. I think that this is all that it reflects. But of course, you're going to make me cry because I couldn't fail to talk about Rubens. Rubens received the award, and thanks to him, a life that was built together, dedicated to other. I'm sure that he's not with me now. So once again, I would like to thank the amazing husband I had, the amazing professional, and it's to him that I gave this award. Thank you. That I dedicate this award. Thank you. Well, and finally, but not before correcting myself, we have Marcelo Cruz, so thank you. Thank you very much, Marcelo, for being with us. And I would like to declare open the 24th Brazilian Symposium of Water Resources. I wish everybody a wonderful and amazing event for all of us, and that God protects us and bless us always. Now, thank you very much, Senata Brocky. Jacques, since our symposium is open, we'd like to give you some housekeeping announcements. The best way to follow all of the program of the event is through the app from ABR Hydro. Download your app on iOS or Apple Play or Google Play and search for ABR Hydro online. Everything will go through this platform. It is also a great platform for a network, and it is a gamified, so you are going to be awarded. Your enrollment gives you access to the content for the next 5 years. To visit, just use your login and password. The final program is available on the website of our symposium. And we remind you, ladies and gentlemen, the obligation of wearing masks throughout all of the event. We have totems with alcohol or sanitizers everywhere. The Brazilian Association of Water Resources, ABR Hydro, in partnership with the state of Minas Gerais and the Federation of Companies of Minas Gerais, FIENG, and all of our sponsors, we would like to thank you for your presence and invite you for a confraternization cocktail that will be served at Expo Hydro. And we remind you that the technical sessions of our event will start tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. We wish you all a wonderful evening. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9.
O meu nome é Janieide Brita da Silva, moro no sítio Riacho da Onça. Esse poço é importante para a gente, porque vai beneficiar eu e minha família, porque aqui está muito seco. A gente depende da água do poço agora e era da Defesa Civil, que colocava na cisterna. Mas agora com esse poço melhorou 100%. Aí a gente pegava uma vez por semana. Aí era com isso que a gente ficava durante até a próxima semana. Aí com esse poço agora melhorou, né? Razoavelmente pra gente. Aliás, toda a comunidade agora, né? Que é mais próximo da Bezerra.